Once again, we have someone right at the front of the grid and someone right in the middle somewhere. We've got Falcaro on the second row for today's race, and we've got Joey Mawson sitting down in 11th. It's going to be another dry race, and it looks like it's going to be another one-stopper, which isn't that always the way with these Middle Eastern races? Hey everyone, welcome to Season 1, Part 10 of Race to the Top. I'm Ian, and in today's episode we do have the Doha GP in very hot, sunny conditions here in Qatar. It's a very, very hot temperature, about 42 degrees. It does look like the temperature is going to cool off a little bit, but it's still scorchingly hot. We do have race trim, we do have medium tyres for both, which will give us a little bit of a performance increase. The mediums in particular will really come into their own, because Julian Falcaro, we're going to be starting him on the soft tyres. Mawson, I think we're going to rotate them again. We're going to have Mawson starting on the medium tyres, which is, as you'll probably remember from Dubai, which is the exact opposite. We actually had Mawson starting on the softs and Falcaro starting on the harder compound. But this time we're going to swap them around and see how that pays off, because same as with the Dubai race, we don't want them to be coming in pitting at the same time. At the beginning of the Dubai race, for instance, Falcaro caught right up to Joey Mawson. If they were both on softs, there could have been a possibility of both of them needing to pit at the same time, which would have been disastrous because we would have had to have double stacked, and I don't particularly want to do that. But we'll get onto the grid now. And we have Ryan Tavetta on pole with Mikkel Jensen second on the grid. Julian Falcaro up into third, and next to him, Rail Hyman for company. On the third row, we've got Joel Eriksson with Ralph Aaron, who is continuing his fine form. He finished third in Dubai. In seventh place, we've got Alexander Sims with Makino up in eighth place. Sasahara did very, very well. He's sitting ninth with Daniel Ticktum in 10th. On 11th on the grid is Joey Mawson with Mick Schumacher, Prima Power Team. Keep an eye out for them on 12th. Marino Sato 13th with Gunther from Prima Power Team on 14th. So keep an eye on both of those drivers. Pedro Piquet, who stormed the field on 15th in the last race, and Alex Palau for company. On the 9th row, we got Jan Mardenborough with Daravala in 18th. And at the back of the grid, we've got Lando Norris and Harrison Newey sitting in 20th position. So that is quite interesting, because if we quickly scroll back up, I don't really want to talk too much about this because this isn't exactly fun looking at the grid. But Mick Schumacher in 12th and Maximilian Gunther in 14th. If they can stay there, if they fail to get into the points, there's a real possibility that we can extend our lead at the top, particularly with Falcaro third on the grid. But, you know, that's maybe wishful thinking. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. So let's get into the race then, where we are expecting quite an interesting race. We're expecting a one-stopper in these hot conditions, and it's lights out. Mawson got away very, very poorly and already lost a couple of positions. Falcaro stays in third, but he's got Eriksson on the inside, and Eriksson has jumped him, so Falcaro's dropped to fourth. Mawson down into 13th, and we are just starting to see them all go into single file now. Mawson's still battling away there. He's moved back up into 11th. He's battling away with Gunther there and actually jumped him back for 11th place, which is really, really critical. But Falcaro's got Sasahara right behind him. Falcaro's looking on the outside, but can he do anything there over Eriksson? He does. He's got him on the inside, and then he jumps Jensen as well, and he moves up into second place on the grid. We've got Tavetta pulling away. Falcaro's still fighting to hold on to second place. Mawson's also moved up into the points into 10th, but Falcaro is the one we're looking at the moment, as it is getting really, really tight on this long right-handed 180-degree bend, and there you go. Jensen gets back in front. Falcaro sits back in third. I'm quite happy with that, and we can start backing them off a little bit now, because we don't want to be burning through tyres too quickly at this stage of the race, so we're backing them right off. So Mawson's going to drop away because he is racing on the medium tyres. It's the same problem that we had with Falcaro. He's on the slower tyre. I expect to see him drop away. But Falcaro is the big one that we're focusing on at the moment. He's sitting in fourth, so he's been overtaken by Eriksson. He does have Hyman quite close. These guys are all really, really pushing for the championship. If we have a quick look, there's the live championship standings there. We're still leading, but Muka Motorsport are climbing up. And here's the Drivers' Championship as it stands at the moment. And Pedro Piquet, he's moving up the field quite quickly. Tavetta, he's expected to pull away from Falcaro if this is how it stays, because he's pulling away already in the race. He's 3.8 seconds up. So let's start speeding things up a little bit now, because I know you guys don't want to watch a 4-hour video. And Falcaro sitting in fourth place. I'm quite comfortable with that. Got to keep an eye on those tyre temperatures as always, and we've got to keep a quick look on the fuel as well, because we don't want them to... as Mawson, he's speaking the blue language there. He's very, very upset. I don't know who he's upset about, because there's someone there that he's holding him up. And it doesn't... I can't actually see who that is. It could be PK. That's PK in front of him, as PK is really trying to move through the field. I'm not too concerned about the Drivers' Championship. I'd love it if Falcaro could do something, but with Tabetta so far ahead already, I can't see that happening, and it looks like Pedro Piquet's moving right up the field too. Mawson sitting in 10th then, so he's got Aaron for company in front of him. But if we keep an eye, there's Gunther. He's slipped down to 15th. Something must have happened to Schumacher, because he's dropped all the way down into 18th place now. And we've got to keep an eye on the tyre temperatures, because it is so hot here, 42 degrees as you can see. I'm very, very mindful that we don't want them overheating these tyres, particularly Mawson, because it's on the medium tyres. It's very critical that we keep those tyres from wearing too quickly, because he's going to be staying on these for as long as possible, so that we can throw him onto the softs right at the end and he can go flat out and try and pick up a few places. But he's sitting in 9th at the moment, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm mindful of these temperatures. We're finding it really, really difficult to keep these temperatures from climbing at the moment, and I don't want them dropping too much, so I may even have to back them off a little bit more, just to keep these tyre temperatures a little bit under control. Particularly Falcaro with the tyre temperatures as well. Perhaps even more so than Mawson on these softs, because we don't want to have Falcaro pitting too soon, because the mediums won't last the whole race. So keeping him in 4th place. How's he doing for time? He's got a second over Hyman, and he's about a second behind Ericsson as well. So he seems to have sort of fallen into a bit of a gap there. Mawson's got a bit of a gap in front of him, as it looks like, who's behind him? Aaron and Ticktum are fighting away there, and they've also dragged Sato in. So there's those three behind Mawson now, really, really fighting. And there's a gaggle of cars in front of Mawson as well, who have all sort of caught up. Maybe they've caught up to Falcaro a little bit. No, not quite, because Falcaro holding that sort of second, as it looks like Sims has closed in a little bit, but Falcaro sitting in 4th. I'm happy with that. I'm not expecting him to get podiums. If he does, that'll be fantastic. But we've got to keep an eye on their pace. That's something that I haven't really been mentioning too much. We want to keep an eye on their pace. Once their pace starts dropping off, then we have to consider pitting them. But as you can see at the moment, they're doing fantastically well as the track starts to rubber in. So we can relax a little bit now. This is the bit where everyone just sort of relaxes. It's situation. Keep an eye on the situation. There's not really much going on for us. Both our drivers are sitting quite comfortably, really, aren't they? There's a bit of a gap for Falcaro. He's got some clean air in front of him, which is crucial for keeping the engine cool. And Mawson's closing in on PK, and he wants to undercut him, but we can't do that, buddy, because you are on medium tyres. So we may even see an opportunity to overtake Mawson here. But medium tyres, remember that. PK's on the mediums as well, and we're keeping up with Hyman, Sashihara and Sims. Sims and Sashihara, I think they're Artline, aren't they? They are Artline racing, and they are, because there's definitely they're not going to be scoring that many points. Being on the soft tyres, again, we're keeping up with them, so I expect to overtake them eventually. But we have got PK and Hyman for company, and those two are very good drivers. They're in two very good cars, so just keeping up with them. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied for that, because once Sims and Sashihara drop over to the softs, then we'll have to start worrying about Falcaro, I believe. I'm talking to myself here. That didn't even make sense, did it? That didn't make sense at all. But we do have to keep an eye on them for when they come out of the pits, because they are going to start dropping off. And when Mawson goes over onto the soft, we want to make sure he gets ahead of them, because we don't want him to be stuck behind for too long, which is what happened with Falcaro in Dubai. He got... Oh, no, sorry, it was Mawson. Sorry, I take that all back. It was Mawson got stuck behind Norris, who was a slower car on a different tyre, and he just couldn't pass him, and that really cost us. I mean, Mawson recovered to finish 5th, but it wasn't the best, as our tyre temperatures are starting to drop a little bit, so I'll bump them back up a touch. So we are going to try and save as much fuel as possible as well in this race. I can't see us needing to do anything at the moment in regards to the fuel. We don't need to conserve the fuel. I'll start again. I'm thinking 2 steps ahead here. I was going to say we should start conserving the fuel, so that at the end of the race we can bump that engine mode up and try and get a few places back. More so for Mawson than Falcaro because he's on the softs already. And we need to make sure that when we pit Falcaro that he tries to come out into some clean air, obviously, which is Mawson's problem. Mawson's having a bit of a sniff at Hyman, but he can't get past. Hyman is on the faster tyre. So something has happened. So PK got in front of Hyman and he's starting to pull away a little bit. We've got Aaron for company right behind us. As we have a quick blast back to Falcaro, who's starting to pull away from Sims. I'm not too surprised about that. Got Ericsson, who's pulling well away from us. So Falcaro in 4th place, I kind of expect that. Mawson sitting in 9th place, and we're coming along with Hyman in front. Mawson's having another look. We're closing right up on these really hard braking corners, but we just can't seem to get past us. Who's that? So that's Aaron having a look at us, but he can't do anything. He's on the outside. He's now got the inside line, and he overtakes Mawson. Mawson's now having a look on the outside, but he's not going to complete the move, and Mawson slips down to 10th on the grid now. And I kind of expect to see him. As long as Mawson finishes in the top 10, I'll be pretty happy about that. Falcaro, 52% tyre wear, which as you can see is pretty similar to everyone around us. Sims perhaps a little bit more so, but we're not racing Sims. Sims is in a slower car. I am really struggling today with my words. Sims is in a slower car, so when he pits for the mediums, expect to see him drop down a little bit. As long as Mawson stays within a few seconds of Sims, he may be able to overtake him later on when he drops onto the softs himself. But that's the plan. Those sort of things never happen. Just speak to Ross Braun about that. He knows all about that. That sometimes that's racing. It just doesn't happen. 44 laps to go then. Tavetta with an 11.2 second lead out in front. He's got the clean air. That's partly why I think PK did so well in Dubai, because he did have the clean air. But when I had that media question in yesterday's episode, I upset him by saying it was just a fluke. So I'm not in PK's good books anymore, but I don't really want him anyway. There's many other drivers out there that I can pick up over PK. So this is a bit of a boring race. It's a bit like a normal Formula 1 race, this one, isn't it? There's not a lot going on. Mawson's watching a battle in front between Hyman and Aaron, as he's going to have a little sniff, and he's got that inside line. He overtakes both of them and moves up to 8th. Fantastic move by Mawson. We're going to have to back him off just a touch because I'm keeping an eye on that fuel for him. The tyre wear, I should say. The heat in the tyres is climbing that little bit, but he moves up to 8th, and he is keeping up with PK. That is big news, because PK with Motopark are a very, very good team, and I'm worried a little bit about them in the standings. They are dropping off a little bit, but we're building a huge lead with the way things are going at the moment. So I think we can be really, really happy with how we're getting on with this race. Schumacher's still down in 18th. Gunther's still down in 14th. So they're the ones that we're watching at the moment. That'll probably change. By the looks of things, it's going to be that Muka Motorsport. So now I know how to say it. I'm going to say it all the time. Muka Motorsport. They're moving up on the standings, as you can see. So they might be the new team we have to start worrying about. And that's only because Tavetta there in 1st place. He's picking up all the points. And we've got Tickton down there in 12th. So, I mean, it would be nice to be able to get the fastest lap. That'd be great. Get 2 extra points. But unfortunately, I just don't think we're good enough to do that because our engine's not the best. We may have a bit of a stab at it in Portugal, I believe, which is the next one where the engines are critical. But until that happens, there's not really much we can do, is there? So this is a bit boring at the moment. There's not a lot happening. So we'll flick over to Falcaro, who's all on his own lead. There's not a lot happening for Falcaro because Falcaro's got... What's that, a 5-second deficit to 3rd place Ericsson, and he's 3.5 seconds ahead of Sims, and Sims is going to have to look at pitting soon. We can stay out on these softs a little bit. Keeping an eye on Mawson's pace. Mawson's pace is starting to drop off a little bit, so that's something to be mindful of, because I don't want Mawson to be losing too much pace. Otherwise, putting him onto the mediums would be a complete waste of time. But he's starting to get a bit of free air there, and he's only 1.5 seconds behind PK. And when you think back to the Dubai race, how far ahead up the road PK was in qualifying, in practice, which I know you didn't see, and of course the race. PK was pulling away, and they're one of the best cars on the grid. So the fact that we're keeping up with them is really, really promising. And as you can see, Tavetta's building a huge lead. If you look on the minimap, look how far ahead he is from Jensen in 2nd place. And, there's not really much we can do. So Sims is pitted. It looks like he's got damage. So he's going to be... That's basically his race over now because it's only a real one-stopper. And we're going to have to start looking at pitting Falcaro soon. So we might just bump up his tyre temperatures, his tyre wear, bump it up to neutral. Because what I want to do is when we start seeing Tveta and Ericsson pitting, that's our turn to pit. So we'll quickly cut over to Falcaro. See, now, this is where we do it. I think what we're going to do, we're going to go attack mode, we're going to go high engine mode, and as soon as he goes past that start-finish line, now we're going to pit him. We're going to pit him onto the medium, so there's 37 laps to go. This could be tight, actually. This could be very, very tight, but I think this will work for us because there's 38 laps to go. Actually, have I burned through these tyres too quickly? Interesting. Very interesting. I think we go for it. I think we're going to go for the one stopper, and we are going to have to be very, very careful with his tyre wear when he comes back out onto the mediums. He's really, really burning through them at the moment. We're keeping an eye on Mawson. Mawson's staying out. We don't need to worry about him too much. We'll cut back to him. Falcaro's the man we want. We're pushing hard. I didn't see what his gap was. So there's Ericsson in front. How he's nearly 5 seconds, isn't he? About 5 seconds behind Ericsson. But he's got a lot better tyre where he's really, really pushing, and he's coming into pit now. So this is going to be a potential undercut. As long as it's a good stop. It's a great stop from Falcaro. I'm really, really thrilled with that. And we'll drop back down to medium, neutral. There you go. 3.7 seconds for Falcaro. He comes back out into 4th place, which is really good because you've got PK and Mawson right behind him. They're on used mediums. That was a critical stop, and actually it really, really worked for us in the end because if he got stuck behind PK and Mawson, that could have been his race done. But now he's got a real possibility that he could potentially overtake Ericsson on the undercut because he's 14.8 seconds behind Ericsson. Ericsson is yet to pit, remember, and we have to be very mindful of these tyres because we're going to try and keep them to the end of the race. That could be quite crucial. So we can worry about Falcaro a bit later because he's got the whole road up ahead of him. And he's 3 seconds. There you go. So Ericsson is pitted now. So it shows what I was doing because I wasn't paying attention at all. So Ericsson's pitted and Ericsson's 3 seconds ahead. So we shaved 2 seconds off his lead over Falcaro with that early pit stop. But of course we've got the slightly harder task now. We've got to really manage our tyres where Ericsson can be a bit more wasteful. Whereas, obviously, like I say, we have to be very, very mindful because the tyres only last around 37 laps and we've got 38 laps to go on them. So Mawson, meanwhile, has closed up quite a lot to PK, which is really, really good. And I'm actually going to put him into a high engine mode. Let's see what he can do. See if he can get past PK. And we're going to try and get him, I think the softs, so if excuse me for a second, if we go to the softs last 24 laps. And there's still quite a few laps to go, so I don't want to pit him just yet. I want to see him do a fair number of laps on this. There goes 34 laps to go. So there you go. It shows I can't even count today. I said there was a fair few. There's actually a lot. There's 34 laps to go. So Mawson's going to be stuck on these for at least a little while yet. For at least another, let's say 14 laps. That'll give him 20 laps on the soft, and then he can really, really push. But PK's tyre wear is a little bit worse for wear, and that's a good sign because if we may even consider doing the undercut, that's something that would really, really benefit. If we can undercut and get in front of PK, we could have Falcaro in 4th and Mawson in 5th, which would be really, really good. We do have to be mindful though. Sasahara is still racing very well. Aaron, expect to see him. He's 12 seconds up the road, so he will probably jump back in front. Daravala, I wouldn't expect Daravala to get in front. Oh, actually, yeah, 16 seconds. Maybe Daravala might get in front as well. Sato, however, he had to pit for damage, so that really affected his race time. So we may sort of come out. In fact, if we, let's say hypothetically we pitted now, we're expected to be battling with Gunther in front of us. So we're expected to come in 8th place, which is just there. So yes, I mean, Sato's race is done. I'm still mindful of these two because they're on the soft tyres. They could close that gap, and if someone like Sasahara gets in front of Mardenborough, then they've got a lot of clean air there before they catch up to Gunther. So he's someone that we we have to keep an eye on as well. Falcaro, though, will quickly cut back to him. Sorry, no, he won't, because Mawson is just having a look. He nearly got past PK then. That would have been huge, but he's having another look. He's not quite done yet. Can he do anything on this lap? As he really took that corner really wide, unfortunately, and he just can't seem to get side on to PK. I may even burn through a little bit of fuel here, because getting in front of him would be huge. So if we can get him to fall into the deficit, but if it means overtaking PK, then that puts us in a really good position, because it's actually costing Mawson a little bit of time now. And I'm also worried, of course, about his engine, because riding right behind another car, it obviously hurts the engine. You get a lot of that heat from the exhaust from the car in front. So, and Mawson doesn't have the best reliability, remember. So I'm mindful that we may have to consider pitting him soon. We'll be coming up to lap 30, which will be 27 laps to go. And the softs last 24 laps. So, yeah, like I say, if we could pit around, let's say lap 34, 35, something like that, that could be good, particularly if we get the undercut going. But as you can see, he's drifting off a little bit from PK. Has PK been upping his speed? No, he's going about the same. Mawson obviously just took a corner a little bit wide, perhaps, as PK's pulled out a bit of a lead, a 1.7 second lead that was a lot closer before. So we've backed Mawson off on his engine mode a little bit, just to conserve some of the fuel, and also keep an eye on that tyre wear as well. So Falcaro, though, he's the big one. He's the one that's going to be picking up the points for us. And as you can see, his tyre wear is a lot worse than Ericsson's at the moment. And that's something that's going to be very mindful, because I don't want to have to pit him again unless there's a big enough gap, which will allow us to pit and go onto the soft tyres, without any loss, let's say, and then we can really push right at the end. So as you can see, he's saving a lot of fuel, so we might even bump that up a little bit, just to keep that tyre wear, reduce the deficit of having to conserve the tyres a little bit. So we've got 28 laps to go then. So again, I'm looking at pitting Mawson in about 5 laps, 6 laps or so, but his pace has picked up a bit. Since PK's pulled away, he doesn't have that drag from the car in front to slow him down. The dirty air, I should say. We'll have to wait and see on this one. This is actually quite an interesting race, really, isn't it? Because not much is happening at the moment. Tavetta has been closed up a little bit by Jensen, but Jensen is still yet to pit. So that'll move Falcaro up to 3rd. But he's 20 seconds behind Jensen, so maybe not. Maybe Jensen might come out still ahead of Falcaro, and he'll be on soft. So even if he's just behind Falcaro, he should make light work on him. So I think 4th place for Falcaro is pretty good. And we've still got, if you look at Falcaro, he's in a really good position where he can conserve his tyres really for the rest of the race, because you've got PK that's going to have to pit, Mawson that has to pit, Gunther that has to pit, Mardenborough that has to pit. So the next real challenger is 30 seconds behind Falcaro, and that's Sashihara, and I don't think he's going to last the whole race, so he's going to have to pit again. Aaron may just be able to go the whole race, but again, 30 seconds up the road, I'm not too concerned about that either. And both our drivers now have a huge gap between the cars in front and the cars behind. This has been a really spread out race. And if you look up into the mini-map up there, you've got Tavetta. He's about to close in on Sims, who's the back marker. Then you've got Ticktum, who's a back marker. And behind him is Jensen, who's just going around those tight left-right corners up here, which is where Mawson's just heading now. At the back of the grid, Newey, he started in last place, you'll remember. He's moved up to 15th place. He must have pitted early. He must have started on the soft tyres too. So Mardenborough is looking likely to pit. Jensen's just come into the pits now, so he will be coming out. Where's he going to come out? Let's quickly cut over to him. He should be coming out ahead of Falcaro, and he does. So in fact, he actually stays in 2nd place, but only just. But of course, he's got fresh tyres from Ericsson, so Jensen should pull away. Falcaro is still sitting in 4th place with no one around him. This is a pretty boring race for him. There's not much going on, but hey, 4th place, I'll take that any day of the week. And in fact, Mawson sitting in 6th is really good as well. So he's up a little bit on his fuel, so let's bump his fuel up a little bit. Let's keep him going. Not that I'm expecting him to close in on PK. He's dropped off quite a lot from PK now. The undercut's gone. He stuffed that up. I say he, because it's probably my fault, but I'm blaming him for it. So if he can, when he pits, the big one, he's got Gunther. Gunther's going to have to pit as well, and he's what's that, over 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds behind Mawson. So if I pit now, we're expected to be 7th. We're still expected to be 7th. So let's have a quick look then. Gunther's there, and then you got Sashihara there, and Aaron's battling quite close with Makino, but Makino is coming into the pits. I just saw that then. So let's have a look, see if PK... So PK's coming into the pits. There's PK now, and he is pitting. As you just saw Mawson go flying past. So Mawson moves up to 5th. Now Gunther has pitted as well, so this may force our hand just a little bit. PK's gone onto the medium tyres again. That is interesting. Maybe the softs just aren't that good. That could be something. Because of the heat, maybe it's just that little bit too hot to benefit the softs, which could have affected Falqueiro's race. We just won't know about that one. I mean, I think 4th place is pretty good for Falqueiro. When you look at our car, we've got a lot of good parts on it, considering all we've done is just upgrade what we have. But the fact that we're still going around and doing decent times and sitting in 4th and currently 5th, but that'll soon be 7th, let's say, I can't really complain. Because Mawson's still got a pit now. Keeping an eye on his pace. As you can see, his pace is dropping off just a little bit. He's got PK behind him. So if we can hold PK up just that little bit, because PK's got a 15-second deficit to Falqueiro. And the longer we can hold him up, the harder it'll be for him to catch up to Falqueiro. Because, of course, Falqueiro's going the rest of the race. He's got 20 laps to go. I don't know if that's even doable yet. We'll have to wait and see. As Mawson, his pace is still down a little bit. I'm not too surprised about that. We have got 20 laps to go though, so I think what we're going to do is let's start powering up, and I think we'll pit him because we've got 27% on tyre wear, and we're going to throw him onto softs. Let's keep an eye on that part condition for Mawson. I have been upgrading all of them. We do have to worry a little bit there. 55%, that's not great. Of course we want a fast pit stop. This is the important pit stop. If Mawson gets a good pit stop here, he will come out around Sashihara, Aaron, somewhere like that, maybe even ahead of Sashihara, which would be 4th and 6th, which would be a huge net gain for Mawson if he could do that. That's why we're pushing him really, really hard now. In fact, let's go into overtake mode. Probably a bit late now because there's only not even a whole sector left. So in he comes. We'll see PK go flying past. There goes PK. It was a good stop. Where's he going to come out? Let's have a look. As we lose a couple of places there, do we? No, we don't. We stay in 7th. So Sashihara gets in front of us, but he's going to have to pit. That's not great for us. We don't want to get stuck behind him too much. But there we go. He's pitting. So Sashihara is pitting. So let's back off the fuel a little bit. Because as soon as Sashihara dives into the pits, we're going to up the fuel load. Let's get Mawson a bit further up the road than need be. As Sashihara comes around, he's not really holding us up though, so that's quite good. So we'll go back into conserve. Now we'll bump up our engine mode because Sashihara's pitted. So we move up to 6th. This has been a fantastic race from Mawson at the moment, because remember where he started? I can't even remember. Was it 11th? I think he started, and he's up into 6th. He's been doing fantastically well. I think starting on the mediums was the way to go. Falqueiro, I'm a little bit worried about his tyre wear because he's still got 17 laps to go. Ericsson's closing in on that tyre wear as well though, and he pitted a little bit later than us. I don't think we're going to get on the podium, unfortunately, say for some catastrophic event where we have a safety car or something like that. Because speaking of safety cars, what do we do if a safety car comes out now? Do we pit Falqueiro, put him on some soft tyres, or do we not? I think we'd have to hold on, surely. We wouldn't have to pit again. It's getting a bit too late to pit now. But let's just hope it doesn't happen, because I don't want to have to make that decision. So we'll back Mawson off on the fuel burn, just because he's gone into the deficit there. I don't like deficit at all, and we can actually bump Falqueiro up a little bit just to keep him well clear, because PK's actually closing in. He's 13 seconds behind Falqueiro, and he was 15 seconds behind a few laps ago. So that's something that we have to keep an eye on. But with 16 laps to go. Yeah, there you go. I'm good at counting. I passed maths. 16 laps to go, and he's 13 seconds behind. I can't really see him closing that up, but it all depends. See, we want to keep as much of a gap as possible, because Falqueiro, we might have to back him off on his tyre wear so much that it could really hurt us towards the end. He might be lapping really, really slowly, and we don't want to lose 4th place if we can help it. But this has been a pretty dull race so far, hasn't it? Because, Aaron's going to pit in a second. Let's have a quick look at Aaron. Aaron's pitting. There you go. There's Aaron pitting. So Gunther's jumped ahead of Aaron. And Gunther is 10 seconds behind Mawson. Now, even if Gunther's got the better car than Mawson's on the quicker tyre, so that should nullify it at least a little bit. So I'm expecting Mawson to hold 6th. I'm not expecting that to change at all. Even if a safety car comes out, he's on the quicker tyre, I expect him to be able to hold off or any sort of challenges on a race restart. Vaquero is the one that we have to worry about now, so we'll quickly cut back to him. And he's got 5 seconds behind Ericsson, so the podium isn't out yet, but it's looking more and more unlikely with each lap. We've got Piquet, who's 12 seconds now, so it's taking him 2 laps, and he's taking out half a second a lap, which is a decent time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I think I shouldn't say this because I'm going to be speaking way too soon. I think I might have nailed this race strategy, Not that I think I've really done badly in previous races, but I think this one I've really nailed. If we can get 4th and 6th, I'll be absolutely delighted with that. Because Mawson's now got a 9.5 second lead over Gunther. It was 10 seconds before, so Gunther is closing down a little bit. He's taken out half a second, and we have got 13 laps to go still, so got to keep an eye on that one, don't we? But doesn't look like there's much going on. There's not really much challenge. Even on the minimap, there's not a lot happening. 11th and 12th. Well, actually, just to keep things a little bit interesting, because this is boring as batshit at the moment. Hyman's battling away with Newey. And Newey, remember, he started last on the grid. Hyman actually performed very well the last couple of races, and he's got a bit of a challenger there in Newey just behind him, but even they're not that close. Then we've got a group of 4 cars there. We've got Makino, Schumacher in 14th, Norris, and then Daravala as well, just on the tail end of that-ish. And then there's a huge gap to Palau, huge gap to Sims, another huge gap to Ticktum, and Sato's 5 seconds behind him. So there's not much going on, is there? And we'll keep that tyre wear up just a little bit for Vaquero. We've got to be mindful. We don't want that tyre wear to get too bad. With 46%, we may have to pit him. I'm mindful of this. This is a worry because I think if Vaquero pits now, in fact, let's have a look. If Vaquero pits now, if Vaquero pits now, he comes in 4th, which is where he is. Do we pit him now? Let's do it. I think we pit him now. We go gung-ho now. Let's burn through these tyres, and we try and stay ahead of Piquet as much as we can. We'll go around one more lap, and we'll pit onto the soft tyres now. We'll be battling Pedro Piquet. No, we dropped to 5th. And we'll be exiting close to Joey Mawson. And how far ahead is Joey Mawson? Joey Mawson's 8 seconds. I think we have to. I genuinely think we have to now. We've got 10 laps to go. 42% tyre wear. Oh, this is such a gamble. 11 seconds ahead of Piquet. Suggestions on a postcard, ladies and gentlemen, because I actually don't know what to do. I don't want to pit him if I don't have to, but then I just had him going around basically a full lap, going flat out, thinking that we'll come out ahead of Piquet because I didn't select the tyre in the settings. Oh, this is so tough. So tough. As Mawson will have to stop his fuel burn a little bit because he's gone into the deficit. He's safe now. He's safe in 6th. But can Vaquero... So I think the good thing is Vaquero won't finish lower than 6th. So that's why perhaps we won't. Because, okay, if Piquet overtakes him, that'll be really, really disappointing. But if we have a look at the standings, he's not really doing much, is he? Oh no, Piquet. Who does Piquet race for? Piquet is Van Amersfoort. So we don't really want that, to be honest. We don't really want him to get 4th. Because that'll change the points a little bit. We stand to gain 20 points at the moment. Van Amersfoort are only going to gain 12. And look at that, how tight that is. Muka and Prima Power Team, as well as Van Amersfoort, are all really, really close. But I think what we can do is I think we're going to hold on. I think we're just going to be able to hold on to this one. And 4th and 6th I'll be happy with. This hasn't been the most thrilling race, hasn't it? This has been a bit of a ball, this one. I mean, I'm thrilled with the result. Whether it's 4th and 6th or 5th and 6th, I'm happy. I'm pretty happy with that. Falcaro has performed really, really well. Mawson even better still, because Mawson has just been absolutely on fire. He started on 11th, I think. Does it tell you where they start? No, it doesn't. That's a shame. He started off, either way, he was 10th or 11th. He was down there somewhere, and he's moved up to 6th. He's done really fantastically. And the fact that when he was on the mediums, he kept up with PK speaks volumes for him. Falcaro holding 4th, I'm happy with that. Yes, he's dropping off away from Ericsson, and PK is slowly closing in. But we've got 6 laps to go. Oh, this is really, really tough. I'm going to conserve the tyre wear. Oh, the safety car's out. Didn't I tell you the safety car would be out? No, I didn't. So let's back them right up. Back them right up. We've got 1 lap of the safety car. They've just grabbed Tveta now. And this is where our whole race comes undone. Because Falcaro, we should have probably pitted him. We should have pitted Falcaro. Put him on some softs. He may have lost a couple of positions. But, he would have had clean tyres. Now he's going to have to stay out for the remaining 4 laps on very, very worn medium tyres. Mawson's in a good position, but this is where our race gets ruined, because PK could jump everyone here. He's got very, very clean mediums. Gunther's on better mediums. Sashihara's on mediums. Now, who was it that crashed? Daravala it is that crashed, and crashed right on that first corner. And Falcaro is complaining about damaged front wing. The heat, because of the temperature is so hot. I wonder how hot it is at the moment. It's 43 degrees. It's not doing much for our reliability. So that's why Mawson, I'm glad I gave him that extra reliability. Because look, is that his brakes? No, that's his gear. His gearbox is worn quite significantly. So, heading to the garage now. So let's start amping everything up a little bit then. Because it's all about maintaining those positions. 4th and 6th. I expect Falcaro and Mawson to drop back. I should have pitted Falcaro as soon as that safety car came out, but I didn't think about that. And who is that is sitting in front of the safety car? Surely that's a penalty. Oh no, he got in front. There you go. I swear to you, back there, Tveta was in front of the safety car. But let's worry about that later. So Falcaro's in 4th. He needs to hold on to this position. We're going to up the tyre wear for Mawson now with 4 laps to go. High, yeah, we want to leave him. So it's 4th and 6th. This is a really, really tight. Falcaro moves up to 3rd, but he loses out. He maintains 4th. Mawson moves up to 5th. If they can hold that, it would be fantastic. Now, I'm going to change their strategy. I'm going to let Falcaro through. I'm going to let him through. He's let everyone through, though. That was probably a bit of a disaster. But Mawson moves up to 5th. Falcaro drops back to 9th. This isn't looking good, is it? 5th and 8th now. Falcaro has lost out massively. Mawson maintaining 5th, and he's trying to keep up. We're going to cut back to Falcaro a bit later. Mawson's right on PK's tail. Let's go overtake mode. Let's see what he can do, because I really want him to nab PK, and if he can, that'd be fantastic. Falcaro's having a look as Falcaro's staying in 8th. He's battling hard to maintain that position. We're going to have to back him off a little bit. We'll put the engine mode up on Falcaro now, just for the rest of the race. And we'll keep Mawson up in 5th. So, Mawson, what can he do? Has he got him? He's got PK on that corner. He needs to hold on to that position now. We've got 2 laps to go. The tyre wear should hold out. I'm not too sure about Falcaro's tyre wear, though. It's down to 25%, and he's in 9th place now. That's so frustrating. And he's dropped again. He nearly did. He nearly dropped again. We stand to lose out massively now, and he's dropped down to 10th place. Oh, how frustrating. That safety car stuffed us. The fact that I didn't pit him stuffed us. Mawson's still having a look. He may get onto the podium, and he does. He's overtaken Ericsson. Ericsson comes back, but he has the inside line. Mawson, can he hold on to it? This is crucial, but it looks like Ericsson's just got the power, and he's holding on But can he maintain it? This is the final lap now. Mawson's in 4th place. Falcaro is battling hard to maintain 9th. Mawson, what can he do? We're going to put him into a full attack mode, and he's gone into the... I'm not paying attention. He's gone into fuel deficit. So has Falcaro. I don't know if these guys are even going to be able to finish the race now. So, what can we do? It shows I'm paying so much attention. Mawson moves back in front of PK. Falcaro's moved up to 8th. Oh, come on. Come on, Mawson. Doesn't look like we're doing much. He's out of fuel. My goodness me. My goodness me. 9th and 10th. Because I wasn't watching their fuel. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm actually speechless. I'm actually speechless. And just like that, the lead in the championship has just diminished to almost nothing. 9th and 10th. 3 points, that's all we pick up. Ryan Tavetta picks up the win. Jensen's 2nd, Ericsson 3rd. PK, he's the one that we don't want to see scoring any points. We keep Harrison Newey out of the points though, but unfortunately those 12 points, that's a 9-point difference to what we earned. We earned 3 points after Joey Mawson ran out of fuel right at the end. I'm actually stunned. I'm actually stunned. Just like that, we're still top, but the lead's down to 7 points. And there's not much between us and 4th place Prima Power team. We could be finishing 4th now at the end of this season. Oh my goodness. I'm actually speechless. Like, I literally don't have anything to say apart from that was diabolical. That was my fault. I mean, I should have pitted Falcaro for the softs, and I didn't. And I should have been watching the fuel, and I wasn't. I was too busy watching Joey Mawson battling away, and it didn't happen. And just like that, our season could be done. Our season could be done. Julian Falcaro has picked up a trait, and what did he get? So he's not gonna. He's got a rivalry with the driver Maximilian Gunther, which I'm not too surprised. They have just been battling every single race. They're right next to one another. And I'm not surprised he doesn't want to be on the same team as him, because they must hate one another. I don't know what to say, guys. There you go. Unbelievable. Yes, if you enjoyed it, put a thumbs up on there. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that at all. See you later.